Hi.
Hi, we're back. I'm Christine.
I'm Jamie.
We are here with Books and Booze, and we, again, are still on A Court of Mist and Fury because we are doing chapters 25 to 31.
It's exciting, guys. It's exciting.
I feel like we say that every time.
I know.
Okay, this is gonna be an exciting one, and that isn't. We don't say that flippantly. We just say that as A Court of Thorn and Roses series fanatics.
Yes. I mean, we did say it, I think a couple episodes back, because it was just a depressing time.
That was a depressing...
Yeah, so we were just like, well, it's sad right now.
Well, I will say, these chapters, I think, like, these chapters and the last one, they are a little bit, like, they're not as exciting as different parts of the book were and will be. So these do feel like the middle chapters. So,
yes.
like... It's exciting, but, like, not that exciting. Like, they will get more exciting, but that doesn't mean that we don't have a lot to say.
No, always have a lot to say.
We still want to talk about what happens here, because there is still stuff.
Yes, a lot of stuff. A lot of my Cassian comments that I always just love, so.
Oh, we're just looking forward to Cassian, and imagine we just cut out all the parts and just talked about what are our favorite Cassian lines.
Yeah.
Let's do only the Cassian moments.
I agree.
Cassian and Lucian.
Yes.
Even though Lucian's not here, but
it's okay.
I miss you guys.
Yeah. Miss you, Lush. That's my new name for him.
Lucy. We did want to talk about, this is something that we've brought up in the past. Like, I remember in an earlier episode,
like, probably one of the first couple.
Yes. I think I had said that you reminded me of someone, or maybe you said it, but then you were like, oh, I thought I was the Nesta, and we ended up, like, cutting it out of the episode because we're like, we want to talk about it later, and I was like, no, I'm the Nesta, and we're like, okay, we know that this is going to be a topic that we need to talk about, so we just want to talk about it a little bit today.
Yes. And I did say that, but I also think it's, like, later on I feel more of a connection with Nesta. But then once you said that, I was like, no, like, at this point, I'm not Nesta at all. I would not be the Nesta
just, like,
sister.
where she's at?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I was thinking of it of, like, just, like, family dynamics and, like, roles people play and where they sit with, like, the siblings and the parents.
I think I was thinking more, like, deeper into it.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I'm like, we're also all, like, a little bit of each of them. Like, you can always, like, find a bit of yourself in each of them. But, yeah, family. Then once you were, like, no, like, family dynamic role, everything, I was like, oh, no, you're right.
Yeah. Oh. I just unintentionally burped. Yeah, because even after you said that comment, I was like, oh, okay. Once I thought about it, I was like, no, I could see, even though you didn't explain it, I saw what you were saying, and then I thought about it, I was like, okay, I could see myself in Feyre, I could see myself in Elain, I could see myself in Nesta, but I think my initial, like, Nesta, I was drawn to Nesta, and I felt like I could relate to her, and maybe that's why, like, I felt it easier to be empathetic towards her, even though she was being, like, a cold asshole. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like I can be a real, like, cold asshole.
Yeah, cold-hearted bitch.
Yeah. Like, my instinct isn't to, like...
I've always been the way more emotional one.
Yeah.
I show, like, my emotions more and feelings more, whether I wanted to or not. Kind of gotten better with age.
Well, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, right?
No, I don't think that, but...
You are empathetic, and you think a lot about other people, and you're very considerate. You like when people get along, you like friendships, you know, like to bring people together.
Yeah.
Like, those are very good things.
Thank you.
And not necessarily that I see that so much in these sisters, like, really blatantly, but I think just in terms of, like, roles people play. Like I said it in the last episode, like, initially I had seen you as Elain.
Yeah.
Because you were, like, the person she's sensitive, and she also is, like, the middle person where, like, she wants to stick up for Nesta, she wants to stick up for Feyre, she wants everyone to be okay, she sees all sides. And
I want everybody to understand all sides, and I just want to fix things, and I want everybody to get along. Mm-hmm. And everyone just to be good.
And for the most part, you're, like, never necessarily the bad guy.
That's nice. That's great.
But it really annoys me when I'm like, Jamie, this made me so mad. And you're like, well, I can see how they got there. And I'm like, Jamie!
I know. That's something I'm working on, guys. And I've been going to therapy. But I am, yes, that's also like the bad part. Because then if it's on like the opposite side where, say it's like about you, then I am immediately like so defendant, is that a word?
Sure.
Sure, okay. Of you. So yeah, I like what you're saying. Yes, it makes sense. Where it can be like a very good thing, but can also be like a bad thing.
Or I guess it's like specific to people you know, right? It's like if I'm saying something about someone else and I'm like, this thing that this person did made me so mad, but like you love that person too, it's like really hard for you to be like, yeah, that was not okay.
Yes. Yeah, because I just want peace, love, and happiness.
And
so
then
Elain.
I saw myself in Nesta because I was like, sometimes if like someone does something that I think is like not smart or impractical, or I think they're the asshole, I can very easily just be like, no.
Yeah. Where I think,
absolutely
which like
not.
now I know you, obviously. But yes, you're very just, no, this is kind of how it is. Or
like more direct.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for that I could not find, that obviously you could. And but yes, like much more direct, or just like, I'm not okay with this, or where that's like not something I'm like. So we're very obviously opposite of that. But yes, you are so much more direct and can just kind of say, no.
Yeah, and then if
just no.
And then if
the
someone's like, oh, you're the asshole, I'm like, okay, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm actually not on this earth to like make you happy.
Yeah.
Like I'm okay with that. So like in a sense that's like a really good trait, I think, where I don't need people to like me. You actually don't it doesn't matter if you like what I say, but then it can go like the other end of the spectrum where I'm like, then I could be inconsiderate or like not listen to their piece, or for like the people that are really important for me, I'm not like taking that in.
And I think also like with Nessa, it's not like a malicious intent thing. It's, I think, like being protective of yourself or herself and her space. Like,
she's very protective and very prickly.
Yeah, which isn't I also don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's normally has been like looked as like, oh, you're just a bitch and that's it. I'm like, no, like it's just, I think that's a good that like, you know, like the boundaries or what's okay for you, what's not okay for you. And I also like kind of, I think if it was like a male doing that, like, oh, what a strong like position of power, more that they're looked upon, that they're like more of a powerful person to be saying those things.
Oh, like if a man was acting that way?
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Like you're not going to be like, oh, they're a bitch.
Right. I mean, it depends who they're saying it to, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Like there's obviously lots of different like situations where it differs and everything.
Yeah, but you mean like when like I am direct or like women are direct, it could be perceived in a certain way.
Yes.
And that's something that I've had to battle with is like, okay, is my directness because this person is super passive and or like they're not used to this, or is it truly that I'm being like like considerate of how they're taking it in? Like, which is it? Yeah. That's like something you have to figure out.
Which I think is a struggle, and like same thing with that, and also with me, like sometimes I'm like, okay, I just need to like chill and just like listen to what people are saying and not try and like fix it.
Or it's okay to be like, yeah, that's not okay. I don't like that.
Yeah. So like, who's Feyre though?
Right. I was going to ask that too. Like, do you see yourself in Feyre at all?
I mean, the painting like that. Yes. I think her love journey, I connect with a lot. I think just like her relationship with Tamlin, that like I connected with.
That you just like liked you. It feels nice to be loved, and you can kind of get.
No, like, I just think the young love, and then like overlooking a lot of things.
Yeah. Because
it was like your first love, and I'm just gonna keep overlooking these things, and which I did in my first love relationship, and so I think that part like I really connected with her on, and I think how she kind of continues to realize things and coming out of that. A lot of times I wish I had her. Yeah, I'm gonna go more of her fighter hunter-ness. Do you see? No?
I actually don't know the answer to that question. Maybe I'll think about it more. And then when we come back to this, because I feel like I know we will get back to
the sisters and
their relationships and how they will continue to evolve. So I feel like we'll come back to it. So I will think about it, because otherwise I'm going to flub around here.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's get to our drink.
Which is super fun.
In these chapters, we are exploring Velaris a little bit, and but Rhys and Feyre look upon the artist quarter again. So she briefly saw it, but they are looking upon it again, and it's called the Rainbow of Velaris, the artist quarter. Mm-hmm. So I imagine it to be like this really like fun, quirky place, super, super colorful, and just really...
a rainbow.
Yeah, it's where the artists and the creatives thrive and have their shops and express themselves in various ways. So I am naming this drink the Rainbow of Velaris. I don't know if that's too boring.
What?
But...
I mean, it suits it.
Okay, well, let's just keep it at that. Simple. Mm-hmm. So the drink is 3 different colors,
which was super fun to watch her make.
Yeah, I didn't do it. I didn't do it perfectly, but we still had the 3 separate-ish colors. They molded together more than I wanted them to, but it still worked.
It still turned out good.
Okay,
I think.
So the bottom is red, and it's just grenadine, and if. Grenadine just reminds me of Shirley Temples.
I know. I used to love Shirley Temples.
Yeah.
We go to Boston Pizza, and that was my drink.
Mm-hmm. So grenadine at the bottom. The middle of the drink is yellow, so it's orange juice and peach schnapps. And the top is blue, so it's blue Caraco. Am I saying that right?
I don't know.
And
Caraco.
Some vodka.
Ooh.
So there's
Spicy drink.
3 different liquors, 3 different colors, and we are maybe going to drink it and get real creative. We're not sure.
We're going to see what happens.
Now, my drink has the separate liquids, and your drink we poured into another cup, so then all the colors melted together, and now it's a deep purpley brown.
Yeah, so yours looks really pretty.
So let's try both. Let's see if...
I do want to take another picture of yours while it's like that, if you could just hold it up.
It actually looks better than I initially...
once it settled.
Yeah. I feel like I keep saying I feel like...
Same. It's a really bad habit.
It is. I feel like I'm just going to drink the blue part and not get the other.
Yeah.
Let's try it. Cheers.
It reminds me of being at a destination wedding.
Oh, okay. Yours tastes way different than mine.
Well, yeah, because you're just drinking the...
I'm just drinking vodka and blue Caraco at the top.
Oh, God, yeah.
Do you want to get a spoon? Okay. My drink is all mixed together now. And I don't know if that's the right way to go. I was thinking, too, maybe you're supposed to drink it with a straw so that you can get like...
No, because then it would be great. I think you're supposed to mix it. It's just supposed to look pretty.
Well...
Reminds me of a destination wedding.
Does it?
Yeah.
Why do you think? Because, like, the grenadine?
I think that the grenadine, like, it's sugary.
It's, like, super sweet.
Yeah, it's just something, like, you get...
Look, when I decided on this drink, I was very aware it was not going to compete with our beautiful cocktails that we've made. It was an attempt to do a visually neat drink and not focused on the taste, even though this is like sweet and nice.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's bad. I think it's good. Like, if you like sweet drinks, then it's
a win for the looks.
100% a win for the looks. It turned out very well.
And so I am going to give the drink a little bit of points for the look.
Okay.
6.2.
Okay. I'm going to give it a 5.5.
Okay, fair.
So in Cancun, Mexico, like, really nostalgic.
Well, you're welcome.
Chapter 25. Feyre starts training?
Yeah, so they're still at her family's house, so still in the property. And then Rhys brings her out to somewhere where they're not too close to the house, but they're away from other people so that he can help train her to see if she can use those powers that she got from the other High Lord. So in this instance, she wants... Actually, before that, I did note that she had said, you haven't showed me the... I don't know how they got into this, but she mentions, like, how she's never seen a map of the Night Court, because earlier...
He mentions or he talks about the woods, and he's like, I need to take you to the Illyrian steps.
Yeah. And she's like, I don't even know her.
I don't know what that is.
Because the map that you showed me before was blank.
It had nothing on it.
So he says, okay. And then shows her like where Illyria is and where the Illyrian steps are, how to get there. I just thought that was important to note that she actually saw a map of the Night Court finally.
That's a lot of trust.
Yes, building trust. So he wants her to light a candle, dose it with water, dry the wick, and then light the fire again. So this is like the exercise that she's doing to use her fire power that she got from the Autumn Court High Lord, right?
Yes.
Lucian's father. And she finds it really hard to concentrate.
Just while he's there.
Yeah, and so she says to Rhys, why don't you hide in one of those pocket realms for a bit? And he says, it doesn't work like that. There's no air there. And she says, I gave him a look that said he should definitely do it then. And then he laughed. And he says, like, send a shout down the bond when you're done. And he says, you could rub it on a certain body part and I might come faster. And then he vanished, and then she chuckled to herself. So I wrote that down because I just thought it was another scene where, I don't know, they were just being silly and snarky. And even after he left and she was by herself and she just laughed.
Yeah.
It was like a really lighthearted moment and like nice to see.
Yeah, you're seeing her darkness ease more and more.
But
she gets distracted first because she goes to take a break, have a little lunch with her magically heated soup, and all of a sudden a note appears. It's Rhys. He's just like, I'm bored. Like, have you done anything? And then a pen appears. This is just like a really cute way of sending notes or like texting, like flirting. And it's like, but it's super cute. So they're kind of going back and doing that. And then at one point he does say like, life is better when you're around.
oh,
It's cute. And she replies, you're a shameless flirt. When all of the sudden... I thought you were gonna...
Oh, sorry.
jump in there.
A hand covers her mouth. And he says, stop or I snap your neck.
It's the Adder. Adder, right? Adder.
I don't know.
It's the... In my book, audiobook, they say adder.
Adder?
Yeah.
Oh, I always say the Ator in my head.
Well, that's what we've been saying the entire time, so...
Suddenly, Rhysand appears and binds him to a tree with his night powers. And I don't even know how they describe it, but I just think of it as like really dark shadows
swirling around, right?
Yeah, and like wrapping him around the tree.
Yeah, same. And I also love, again, it mentions that his hands are just in his pockets.
Oh, yeah.
They say it again every time that's mentioned about him. I love it.
Yeah,
you see him like casually standing
there. You just see Charles Melton just like with his curled hair over his forehead and his hands in his pocket and the shadows wrapping the Ator around the tree. And then he says, I've been wondering where you slithered off to. So Rhys starts questioning him and we learn that he was sent by the King of Hybern to go get Feyre.
Not shocking.
No. Because that's where they guessed that he had gone through when he fled after Amarantha's death.
Yeah. Obviously, he was following Amarantha. Why would he not?
Yeah. The Adder's pretty scared and so tells Rhys some things. But I'm going to guess that if the King of Hybern sent him there, he knows that there's a chance that he's going to get caught. And so whatever knowledge the Adder has, he's not like too scared of Rhys knowing.
And he gives it up pretty easily.
He really does.
I was kind of disappointed in him a little bit.
Yeah. Which makes you think that maybe the King of Hybern too maybe wanted him to know that? I don't know. But
yeah.
But he says that the army will be coming soon, so the King of Hybern's army, and that it's endless, and that there is people in every territory that are on their side. And then Azriel all of a sudden comes down and he takes Adder away. And Feyre thinks, I almost felt bad for him because of just the presence that Azriel had.
Good luck with him.
He's pretty scary.
Yeah. Just, side comment, I have a hard time seeing him as scary.
Azriel?
I don't know why exactly.
Because you just want to give him a hug?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously he's not going to hurt me / Feyre. So I don't know if that's it, but every time, like, I just have a hard time seeing him as this, like, scary guy. When it is, I just want to, like, hug him. But he is very scary, clearly. And we find out he's scarier, so.
Yeah. And then Feyre gets real mad.
She does.
Because she realizes that Rhys had used her as bait.
Not cool, Rhys. Not cool.
He had guessed that someone would come after her, so he was curious who would come if he left her alone. Even though there was a previous conversation after the Weaver where she said, tell me about your plans. If you're going to get me to do something, you need to tell me all of the plans.
Yeah.
And not to hide it, and then I learned about it later. And he said okay, but now he's doing it again.
Yes. I do like that he does say that something, and then hunt the members of my court.
Like he's including her in that?
Yes, like very, and like nonchalantly, so much so that like that's how much he thinks of her like that. But then he does say back to her, like, you forgot you stopped fighting.
Yeah, you forget that you're really powerful.
Yeah.
And that he didn't just mean that was like the Weaver and the Adder, that it was about
everything
after the mountain too.
Yeah.
After under the mountain.
Anyways, they start fighting, and I think it's kind of funny, personally.
And he keeps bugging her, right? Because he thinks... He always does this in roundabout ways, which makes me mad, but then also, whatever. You're the one...
But I also love you at the same time.
Yeah. So he keeps making her more and more mad and keeps, like, poking at her. And she keeps trying to hit him and keeps coming at him, and he keeps winnowing away. And
her claws come out at one point.
Keeps, with winnowing, you're showing up in different places. That'd be so annoying. And then someone disappears. I was getting annoyed reading it.
Yeah.
And then she finally manages to winnow, and she tackles him into the snow. She does
it.
So then chapter 27, she does end up telling him, like, don't ever use me as bait again. Don't use me as a pawn. Even though she already told him that.
Yes. Or pretty much like, I'm done if you...
Yeah, I'm not participating in whatever you need me for. Because that was like, that's things that she's repeated in the past. Like, I don't want to... Like, if I'm going to work with you, I'm not a weapon. I'm not like a thing. Like, I am... I want to be a participant. And he keeps doing things where he's not treating her like that.
Yeah, where he says he... Like, and he does do things where it's not like that. And I think very much like giving her a choice and everything. Mm-hmm. But you really... Like, no, we need you, like, all in. If she's going to be there and do all that stuff, you can't just...
It's like he's holding back 80%. A little bit, too, which reminds me of how he was under the mountain, where he's, like, keeps going down those two lanes of people, where it's like, okay, who are you? Are you this guy that's giving me choice, or are you the person that's hiding your plans from me, and then I learn about it later, and you put me in danger, and you don't give me a choice, because you're doing both.
Yeah, agreed. He does apologize, but... still annoying.
She asked why the King of Hybrid would want her, and that possibly it's to something about the book, right? Doesn't want her to interfere with the cauldron. Kind of realizes what everyone, like what he had realized, that she has the powers of all the High Lords, and that she could use the book and all those things. But Rhys says, "I'll find out."
Oh, and then he apologized and said, "Okay, like you should go home." She says, "Velaris isn't my home." And like,
Yeah.
She swore she could see hurt in his eyes, which I kind of felt hurt when she said that a little bit, but I also understand
but I'm also on her side here.
Yeah. But I was also like, anyways.
Chapter 28. So they go back to her family's house. Cassian laughed when Rhys and Feyre got back there. He gave a mocking bow to Nesta, and she gave him a vulgar gesture. There it is again, vulgar gesture.
Okay, and then that Feyre didn't even know she knew how to make. Mm-hmm. That was the part that got me. I was like, okay, so what vulgar, like, why wouldn't she not know how to do that vulgar gesture? That part I was just like...
I was thinking it of, like, it's not that Nesta didn't know that existed, it's just, like, she never thought that was in her inventory, that was something that she would ever do.
Okay, that's true. That's a much smarter way of looking at it. I was like, hey, what kind of vulgar gesture is Nesta giving? I need to know about it.
Oh, she's creative.
Yeah.
Okay, so they mail the letters to the queens, the human queens, and then they go home and hope that someday the human queens will answer them. We do learn that as tortured, I was going to say Ator again.
The Adder. And I also, when Rhys comes into the room, like, Feyre is just chilling, reading by which I used to think it was a hearth. It's I can't even remember.
A hearse?
No, not a hearse. Like a fireplace. They call it like a hearth. But then when I was listening to the audiobook, it was, I don't know, just constant things.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, anyways, but so she walks in, and her right away, she mentions that she checks him over for injuries. And when she sees that he looks okay, kind of immediately calms a bit.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I'm like, Feyre,
interesting.
Catching feelings you're worried about?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like a little throw in there where she's like showing her concern for his...
Which is different.
And was obviously sitting there a little bit worried. Yeah, found that interesting.
Rhys shows her what happened with the adder. Like, do you want to know everything? She says, yeah. So he showed her in... What?
When she does ask, she kind of braces herself to not be told because that's what she's used to. She's... Yeah, like, just used to kind of...
Hey, what's happening? And then people are like, oh, nothing. I fell off my horse.
Yeah, so she was literally like, just bracing myself. So I just think automatically... her having that reaction, and then he gives her the option to know, like, you don't have to type of thing, and she says no, like, I want to know everything.
So she sees what happened with the adder. They ask him how they found Feyre. He says the king just told him to go find her and he just follows orders. I did note too that Rhys talks about Az's icy rage that he, sees underneath, and that hasn't been able to thaw in 5 centuries, and that even from the past, him being held in the darkness and, like, I guess caged, right, by his family, that he has talked about it very little with Rhys, which again brings us back to what we talked about before, where it's like,
this is like your brother.
Have you asked?
I think at one point he does, but he kind of like, I don't know. But then even he says, like, he won't open up to Cassian either. Moore is really the only one that can get to him, like, a little bit. And it's not even a lot.
I know. Yes, and I totally get that. I guess it's just, like, the accumulation of experiences with Rhys that have been described where he's just like, yeah, well, they're uncomfortable with it, so it makes me wonder. But anyway, Az doesn't really talk about those things, so there's clearly some darkness underneath that he gets to take out on these people, which makes him a good spy master and torturer, I guess. Does. The adder says to Rhys, good luck trying to keep her, as if it's common knowledge that he took her from Tamlin.
Ooh.
And so we learn that Tamlin has shut his borders, and the adder is disposed of.
Sees that he's kind of given all the information he wants to get, sees the armies, sees everything, and is just...
Okay, bye.
Well, says shreds his wings, or tells Az to shred his wings, then dump him off on the coast of Highburn.
So Feyre, after she sees that, she wants to know what is up at the Spring Court, because I love the Spring Court, and obviously there is some threat that's happening, or you all are worried about a threat that is happening. Rhys says, you know how far Tamlin will go to protect what he thinks is his, which is a bitter statement.
But he's not wrong.
No, so I guess Az has been disconnected from any sort of people that he had been connected with in the Spring Court, who were people who could give him information or whatever else, because there's just like a force field around there, nobody can fly over or whatever. So we kind of get the vibes that Tamlin's mad.
Just a little.
Rhys tries to apologize again for what happened with the adder, and she just ignores him, which I maybe this is the passive aggressive side of me, but I was like, yeah, Feyre, no, don't give it, you go to your room, you don't
acknowledge it.
Yeah, you make him stew.
I'm like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah, no, don't do that.
Do not. So Feyre ends up writing a letter. She decides to write to Tamlin and say, I left of my own free will. I am cared for and safe. I am grateful for all that you did for me, all that you gave. Please don't come looking for me. I'm not coming back.
Ooh. Ouch. Yeah. So Rhys sends it off, but he says, are you sure? And she says, I'm no one's pet, which is a reference to what he had said to her previously when she had been visiting the Night Court, and she wondered if he noticed that. So I did write down that she is finding her voice.
Yes, I agree.
And I guess I was curious with that because I'm like, is she finding her voice? But also, like, she's kind of always been like that with him, where she's always been a lot more...
but that's kind of coming back
direct
where it went away.
Him. Yeah, true.
I wrote down just she wants life again. Kind of.
Oh, look at you.
Thank you. I'm a poet and I didn't even know it.
He suggests that she should get some rest and notes her physical condition, like she probably looks tired or whatever else. And she says, I'll be the person who decides that. And then she changed the subject and I'm like, oh,
Man.
okay.
Yeah. I like it. I like to see it.
She asked to see the city and she says, are you all talk or will you ever show me? I think she would never say the shit to Tamlin.
No, not at all.
Right?
But this is always how she's been with him.
She's done it a little bit with Tamlin, but you see it like, you see way more.
Yes, which you always have with Rhys, even under the mountain. When she barely knew him, she always had those, like...
It's almost like she has this instinct to just, like, be herself.
Yes, around him, where she doesn't even...
She doesn't need to filter it as much, and she doesn't even know why. It's just, like, this... something that flows out of her, where she, like, with Tamlin, there was so much, like, oh, should I say this?
Yeah.
Or should I do this? And she doesn't have that with him, and she's... Yeah, it's really interesting.
I like that. I like that you pointed that out. That's so true.
Oh, okay, so when she asks to see the city, she senses amusement, relief, and happiness. And she said, the man behind the High Lord's mask. So it's like in those moments she's like separating the two.
Yeah, where
Right?
she's mentioned, like, in the past, like, certain, like, a smile or, like, look that he'll give.
Yeah, she's perceptive. And so he says, dinner tonight. Let's find out if...
Feyre, darling.
Let's find out if you... Try it again.
Feyre, darling.
Or I'll talk, or if you'll allow a Lord of Night to take you out on the town. I want to go out on the town.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so just that part, I was like, the life... She wants life again because she realizes, kind of like looking out of the town, like seeing this city that she's in. She hasn't explored any of it, hasn't done any of it. And she's like, yeah, let's do it. Let's party.
Well, I don't think she thinks let's party.
No, but me, when she's thinking that, I'm like, yeah.
So before dinner, Amryn comes to visit her.
I just want to point out that I love how Amryn just goes into her room.
Right. I think she said this time that Amryn knocked.
Oh, okay. That's good.
But I'm still like, why is Amryn coming into your room? It's like really...
But I almost like love it. I feel like all of them have just kind of like brought her into this circle.
They're just like, oh, you're a part of us now. Okay, I'm gonna go talk to you. Because like, if what we know of Amryn, you're very like, would Amryn just like keep to herself? So the fact that she's like engaging with her in such a way is interesting.
I just love how they've kind of all, and they have this like obviously clear bond that we've seen, and all of them are pretty much like, hey, yep,
yeah,
you're a part of it now, and
yeah,
you've been here 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Which, like, guys, maybe keep your shields up a bit, but I also love it. So, continue.
Also in this scene, we get to know that Noella and Cara Dwyn are wraiths, or half wraiths.
Mary-Kate and Ashley.
Yeah, Amryn says that wraiths are shadow and mist. And she says, I don't even want to know how those two were conceived.
Yeah. Well, she says something about high fable, stick it anywhere or something.
So they know that, or not they know, Amryn basically says, like, yeah, they follow me around, then they go tell Az my whereabouts, and Feyre is really confused because she's like, doesn't Rhys get mad that, like, they don't just go to him?
Yeah.
And Amryn says, the Court of Dreams is founded on 3 things: to defend, to honor, and to cherish. Were you expecting brute strength and obedience? Many of Rhys's top officials have little to no power. He values loyalty, cunning, compassion, and Azriel, despite his disobedience, is acting to defend his court, his people. So no, Rhys does not punish that. There are rules, but they are flexible. Which is a totally different way to run things.
Yes.
Which I think we're supposed to understand that it's a very big contrast from what Feyre had experienced in the Spring Court, right?
Yes, which I think that conversation continues a bit.
Well,
with the teeth
it reminds me of like how Lucian was treated.
Right?
How Lucian is his friend, but he's treated like...
Anytime he brought like anything up, it really didn't matter what he said.
Right.
It wasn't
if valued.
Tamlin didn't agree with it, then it didn't matter.
Yeah.
He wasn't
taking... And if he disobeyed him, then that was a betrayal rather than just like, oh, you have a brain also.
Yeah.
and I should listen to what you're saying if you are. Yeah, it's like a lot. Yeah. Feyre asked Amren about the teeth. So if you remember from the spring court when like the water wraith had come and
I had that stupid teeth that made no sense.
So Amren says like, yeah, we have taxes, but we don't have that. We don't like chase people down. And,
Not that crazy.
So she gives Amren the amulet back
I love
that
this.
Amren had given her to go to the prison, but she tells Feyre to keep it, that there's no magic, and she basically just gave her it. So this is, what, Amren is some like whatever creature that she is, and she's super scary, and she could kill you in a second, could kill Rhys in a second. Rhys is talking about how powerful she is, but in this moment she's like, basically gave her the amulet so she would be okay to go into the prison.
And she just met her. And she was just like, you know what? This will make her feel better. I'm going to wake her up and bring her this necklace.
Yeah.
End up finding out that she dug it from the bottom of something and Rhys gave it to her like 200 years ago.
Right, it's just some old piece of jewelry.
Yeah. Very nice and expensive jewelry, but still.
And you could think that it's something nice that she did, but I also think, okay, is part of it that she was just like, okay, I know that you need to go do this task.
Yeah.
And I want you to succeed in this task, so I'm going to do this so that you have enough confidence to know that you're going to get out of there, rather than like a sappy version of it.
Just
but
great
both
that
are fine.
Yeah, both, that you're even like, this will do it. You know what it reminds me of? When Rachel in Friends was pregnant, and then she took another test, and Phoebe was like, it says you're not pregnant. And she's like, oh, that was fine. And then she's like, just kidding, it is. And she's like, that was a tricky game. But I'm like, that's kind of, I don't know why, but that's just like what it reminds me of.
I don't know why
I was just giving you what you needed to, that's when I read that, I was like, why am I thinking of this?
Isn't that a funny trick?
Yeah.
You're welcome.
You're pregnant.
So chapter 29, we finally get to visit Velaris, and it's a night out on the town.
There's just so much I love about this chapter.
I know.
It's really simple, and it's not like a lot of big things happen. But it's just a really beautiful chapter. They're just having their like normal walk.
She's just noting how normal it is that they're just like walking through the city. They're all like walking forward, falling back, talking to each other, just walking around, and they're
Also, there's team sports apparently. I want to know what sports they're playing.
Yeah, I feel like that's like the only time they mention
ever. Yeah. And Amren's a real big fan.
Who's playing these sports?
Yeah. What type of sports are they playing?
Where? In Prithian or?
Yeah. Is it Quidditch? Let me know. Big questions, because I don't think
Is it Sunball?
Right? This is a big question that I actually want to take to the internet or to the author herself. Just curious what these sports are. Anyways.
So they go to this restaurant that actually sounds amazing. I just think of like a nice city to walk in, and it's like, it's nighttime, the stars are really bright, there's street lights, but it's not too dark out. And then there's just like this nice restaurant on the corner where it's like there's seating on the outside, but there's this but it's open to the restaurant on the inside. Like it's not separate. That. Like it's like half in, half out.
That's what they said.
And then you just sit down, and they just like bring you plates of food. You don't even have to order. You don't have to think. It's just like food, wine.
Yeah.
And it's like
good time.
Sweet and salty and sour and spicy, and there's everything.
And there's wine. Fairy wine.
Fairy wine.
I don't know if it's fairy. Well, it's wine.
And Feyre thought it filled not only my stomach, but the lingering hole in my chest too.
Yeah, right? That's what that does. Those kind of nights.
The cook asks her how her meal is, and Feyre says, I've never had food like this, food that makes me feel awake.
I love that. I was like, I want to taste that food.
What do you think? What do you think it is? Like, what do you think the actual food is? Because they don't actually.
No, they
say
don't.
What it is.
I feel like it could be so many different things. It just makes me want to go to like a really good restaurant though, and I think like just go to Italian immediately. But not really.
You think they're eating Italian?
No, I don't. That's just personally, I just want to go to a really good Italian restaurant.
I think they're...
Then I'm thinking like, I don't know. I want it to be like chicken because I love chicken. I actually don't know what it could be or what type of food it could be. I don't know.
I was thinking chicken.
Right?
I was thinking like roast chicken, roast meats that are like really herbaceous and like charred. and like charred vegetables and like really savory rice platters and
Okay, yes, I was also thinking the rice. Ugh, I just want to go to town and go to a good restaurant. I do like, so once she kind of says that to the owner, or Feyre noted anyways, like the happiness on her face, the satisfaction that only a day of hard work doing something you love could bring, hit me like a stone. I just really liked that quote for me personally. And she then also notes that it's something that she used to find with like painting.
Yeah, well, I think it speaks to too, like in the spring court, it's almost like painting felt a little bit frivolous, especially near the end.
Yeah.
Right? It was sort of like, this is the hobby of the lady that we would like to get out of our war room.
Yeah, just please go paint.
Or my office, like, please go do these things. Yeah. Where it's like, there's this different idea where like these tasks that you can work really hard at also have value, but if you put it in a different context, someone might demean these things that are really great things, like things like cooking, right?
Yeah, where she's, made it into, I just really liked that. And F.U. Spring Court.
So Rhys was watching her while she was talking to the cook, and Feyre thinks his face soft, more contemplative than I've ever seen it, his mouth slightly open, and Feyre says, "What?" And he gives a cocky grin and turns away. So it just, Rhys had seen her happy, I think. And like how much she enjoyed the food, and he wants her to feel a part of things. At least that's a vibe that I got, right? That moment just made him happy, where she's just like, that she's happy. And then the cook brings Amren some blood.
I love this so much.
And Feyre's like, what? You drink blood? Okay.
I'm just pushing around this food politely. But I love the cook because she's just like, you know what? We got some blood back here. I'm going to bring this out for you.
Well,
and she tastes it. She's like, oh, you spiced it nicely.
Oh.
I want to go eat at this person's restaurant.
She seems great.
Yeah. She's like, nobody leaves here hungry, even if you just drink blood.
Well, let's go to the walk home. So they're all walking home.
Well, they leave, and then I don't think they really start walking.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Not everyone is walking home, but they went to leave. And Az and Cassian and Moore decide that they're going to go to the club. But before... What?
No, I'm just putting my hands up for the club.
Before Az joins them, Az's shadows... Feyre says something about them looking like they're shielding him. So as he's watching Cass and Moore... And then he takes a deep breath and they scatter. So it made me think of like where these shadows come from and how they manifested. Because in a previous chapter, Rhys had said that he thinks maybe, or wondered whether Az had taught himself to speak to the shadow as well in the darkness.
Right.
So it's like these shadows that are not just like a tool or a piece of magic. It's like, I wonder if like the shadows came to him as sort of coping, as something that he needed, similar to what Rhys and Feyre have in their bond, right? Under the Mounted, they needed, what was it? They needed like connection, or they needed to
yes. Yeah. You know,
like that feeling bond that they have within, that the spell created itself. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if Az's like shadow thing was like similar. That's what he needed in that moment, and that's how his magic manifested. But it just reminded me in that moment that his shadows were like shielding him. He took a deep breath. They scattered, and then he went on to join his friends.
Oh, I like that.
Because...
Not that I like...
Yeah.
But yeah, that makes sense.
Because I think like his longing for more still like nips at him a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Oh, I mean, I like that explanation.
Rhys and Feyre walk home together, so everyone else leaves.
They're going to the club. Amren goes to get more blood.
And this is the moment where they lean against the railing and they look across the Sidra and they look at the artist quarter. The Rainbow of Velaris.
It just sounds so beautiful. Mm-hmm. I love that.
It glowed like a fistful of jewels as the paint they used on their houses came alive in the moonlight. And Rhys says, "This is my favorite view of the city. It was my sister's favorite too. My father used to have to drag her kicking and screaming out of Velaris. She loved it so much." Oh. Feyre asked if him and Amren are together. Because he's like, you bought her jewelry.
Yeah. Like 5,000, not 5,000 years ago. I'm being dramatic, but still.
He said he asked her to bed once, and she laughed at him. Just so funny.
Yeah. Love that for Amren.
She asked why he isn't married, and he's like, oh, so many questions.
But I love it. She's digging in. Get the gossip.
He said he had many lovers, but no one he wanted to spend his life with. And he notes that even if he married someone, they would be coming with a lot of shit, right?
Yeah, because he kind of also says, like, I don't think any of them would have said yes, or it would have always been a no, and that kind of made me sad at the same time for him.
Right.
Just because I'm like, did you keep yourself blocked off so much to a certain point that there wasn't an option? Like,
maybe.
Yeah. But I also get 100% what he's saying. Like, yeah, they would always be a target. Their children would always be a target.
It's a lot to take on.
Yeah.
Rhys tells her a little bit about the Night Court and how the Night Court had just, in the past had been the Hewn City and the Court of Nightmares, but one of his, one of the ancient or his ancestors had a different vision, and so the worst of the worst of the Court of Nightmares, they got rid of them and they built Velaris, but he said that the darkness eventually came back, or those people within his court eventually grew again, and that they needed to divide the court, so those people remained in the Court of Nightmares. They still had Velaris, but the Court of Nightmares has a purpose too. Like, it isn't just for those people to go, it's also to keep them protected.
Yeah.
For them to exist makes it able for Velaris to be hidden. And then
Feyre hears some music played by some people on the street that she recognizes and realizes that it's the music that she heard when she was under the mountain in her cell, and then realizes that it was Rhys that sent her the music.
That was a really important scene under the mountain where she was about to break, and then she all of a sudden hears that music. Right?
And it just really, like, and I know we went over it at that point, but it was a big, like, kept her from breaking. This is like a big revelation that he was the one doing that. Like, we knew he kind of did stuff for her.
Yeah.
While they were there, but then finding out that, what does he say? Like, I think she asked why you did it, because you were breaking and I couldn't find another way to save you. And that was his answer, to kind of give her something to hold on to.
And there is an interpretation where he just needed her to be the vehicle to get Amarantha.
Yes.
Right? But it does also feel in this moment that it's like, oh, he cared about her. It feels more than just like, I need you to keep going to get Amarantha. I saw how you were breaking, and I was very sad about that, and I needed to make you feel better.
Yeah, but for her to send her music from Velaris, like, that's almost feels like very intimate.
Yeah.
Right? And then she does mention that she also saw images.
Yeah.
In her mind, I guess, when that was sent. Like, that she saw the Night Court.
And he says, I didn't send you those.
So, like, what? Like, what? What's
Yeah.
happening? Clearly there's more to just this bond thing. That's mainly
he didn't mean to, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, they spend the next day flirting. I called it flirty.
Oh.
They talk about licking.
Love it.
Let me guess, you have a quote about that?
Oh, hang on, let me just turn my page. Yes, because she said something about him licking his wounds, and then he says, I'd much rather you lick my wounds for me. And then I also wrote, oh, they like each other.
They lick each other?
They like each other. And they might lick each other. I don't know. And then they kind of throw back to the under the mountain when he licked her tears. Mm-hmm. You know? They're getting a little reminiscent.
Well, she's thinking about the things that he has said in the past that are maybe similar or done. So licking the tears, making her mad to distract her, the flirting, and then she thinks of the music, and she thinks, is he doing the same thing now? Oh, he's just doing it to make me feel better, right? And then I think, like, but is he?
Yeah.
Is he, though?
I do also like, in this moment, she gets a bit forward with him as well.
She does. She gets a little saucy.
Yeah, which I like, that she's kind of, getting real flirty back.
But she's not taking what he says as like, oh, that's genuine. You're just trying to have fun, distract me.
Yeah, kind of how their relationship's always been. Obviously,
she doesn't take his serious side serious.
Yes.
So chapter 30, Cassian is training Feyre, and Az and Rhys are sparring next to them. She is checking them out.
She also, which I do like, it's a random thing. Cass teaches her how to punch, and I think that's very important.
What?
He teaches her how to punch. I thought I wrote it down, but I didn't. I thought it was a really good fun fact, but...
Well, of course he teaches her how to punch.
No, but very specific, because she talks about how her, like, pinky's shaking.
Oh, the correct
and then he's
way.
like, no, like, how you're holding your fingers is very important, or else you're just going to hurt yourself more than you hurt the other person.
Right. No, that's important.
I'm not going to tell anybody how. You're going to have to look it up. I'm sorry.
You're going to have to figure it out yourself. Because we don't remember. I'm just thinking of all the muscles she's thinking about.
Oh, and yeah, she looks over at Az and Rhys sparring next to them.
Yeah, I wrote down powerful thighs.
Yes, she does say that, because I think Cass looks over and is thinking she's looking at the tattoos, which I think she does note.
She looks at a lot of things.
Yeah.
She also looks at the tattoos. Yeah.
And then I think she also says, I don't think he was taking in the whole picture as I was.
Right.
And it was the powerful thighs. And a lot of other things where I'm like, yeah, can I come do that with you guys?
He explains that the tattoos are for Illyrians, that they get them when they're initiated. And then she thinks, oh, I would like to paint them. This is the first time where she has this spark of creativity, and she thinks, that I would title it Death on Swift Wings.
Yes, she thinks of a title. And then an image actually comes to her mind, which is just very exciting.
Yeah, I want to paint the Illyrians.
I want to paint the Illyrians.
Cassian asks about the note that she wrote to Tamlin, about how she's not going back, and she says, I'll talk about it when you talk about how...
Just like...
Talk about your feelings for more.
Yeah, that's our comeback.
Yeah. Like, hey, get out of here.
Yeah,
basically.
like I'm going to be real defensive right now, which I get. But then I think she just kind of keeps hearing, you've left for good, over in her head.
Yeah, well, she goes into a thought spiral. Ooh, that's what I think of it. She's like, and she can't get out of it.
Yeah. This just whole part, so much comes out of her. So, and I think Cass, like, does apologize, kind of being like, oh, like this and this, before we don't
think it's a joke.
Yeah. Like, I was actually just, like, seeing how you were feeling, and...
I was just trying to be light and wanted to see if you wanted to talk about it, but I said it in a weird way.
Yeah. So sparring is it called? I don't know. I would obviously be terrible at this, but starts doing the punches, because he's like, Kate, let's go. And just so much kind of goes through her. Well, and I feel like it's hard not to read everything.
Yeah.
But kind of her realizing, and she said, like, I fought harder for him than, like, he ever did for me.
So she was thinking about how she hasn't thought about Tamlin and how mad he was and all of the rage he had in those past moments where he would explode, and like how many rage moments has he had since I left, right? Which is pretty scary. And she thinks of Under the Mountain and how he just sat beside Amarantha and didn't do anything, you know, and like we have said previously, and Rhys has said,
yeah,
you know, you didn't do anything until, like, you know, pretty much the last night, and you tried to have sex with me rather than help me.
Yeah, but she says, again, the F word.
She says the F word.
She's angry.
Yeah, and how Amarantha was killing her, and he wasn't just sitting there, he was stabbed. Let's give him a little bit of credit, but she said he just begged, but nothing more. Like, he didn't do more. And you think of, like, what Rhys would have done, right?
Yeah.
He was, like, basically dead and still trying to get up, so...
Yeah, just her, like, kind of realizing all of this in that moment. And obviously, we've gone over this 100 times about the stupid closet makeout.
Yeah.
Just how stupid that was. And, yeah, and it was just that, okay, he got everything he wanted finally when it was over. Right. And just to, like, shove her aside, really. Right.
And I killed those Fae. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. She thinks it should have been her. Right? Yes. Like, I went through that for you, and, like, this is the outcome. It feels very, I guess, maybe she probably feels, like, silly or embarrassed, I guess.
I think that's, like, just a lot of everything to realize. Like, you just gave so much for this person. Like, you gave your life.
And you're like, there's so many pieces that I didn't see. So that, I guess, would feel silly.
Yes,
right?
That I was like, just
I didn't see all of this.
I was so blinded by my love, really. She also then realizes that as she's punching, she's now punching skin. And
punches through the punching pads.
Yeah. She let some fire go.
Rhys tries to comfort her, says, you're always going to feel bad.
Yeah.
Like
he cocoons her. That's the word that's used. He cocoons her.
Oh, instead of being like, it's fine, go paint.
It's fine, Feyre.
No,
don't you have a party to plan?
No, Rhys is saying it's always going to feel bad.
Yeah.
Like, you're never going to get over this. It's just, you learn to live with it.
And he kind of then admits or gives more of himself and kind of admits that he, with his, I believe, sister and mother's death, that the same, but he can relate. But I do like, that he's just not very much. It's okay. No, it's not fine. You murdered people. Like, it's not okay.
Yeah. So, chapter 31, she spent days training with Rhys and Cass, and watching Cass and Mor have this interaction, and she puts together that it's not Cass that is longing for Mor, which she initially thought, and that he acts more as a buffer so Az is less hurt. Because Az is the one that is longing for Mor.
Yeah.
So Cass is trying to just be the fun guy in between. Like, hey, we're all buds. And
I'm a fun guy.
Yeah. And so Cass sees in Feyre's eyes that she's putting it together. So they have this silent conversation with their eyes. He gives her a look of warning, like, how I interpret it is like, don't... Like, just I see that you see, but do not say anything. Keep it to yourself.
Leave it as is.
Now, the summer court has finally responded because, remember, the Book of Bindings is still in their territory, so they need to go visit the summer court and make friends.
There's stuff to do.
So they responded, and they said, yeah, hey guys, come on over. I don't know if it's that excited. So they all decide the inner circle have a conversation, but Rhys says, okay, Feyre and Amren are the ones who are coming with him because Cass is banned. Cassian destroyed a building and he's
Cassian
banned for life. We don't get the story, but just basically like they're all saying like, Cassian, like, you're not, maybe your presence is not needed. It's not gonna be the best. It's just gonna be us three.
I like that Amren's going though.
Oh, love it. Love her.
Yeah. I'm excited for this. Little vacay with Amren.
Yes. And then Feyre, her and Rhys have another flirty interaction, talking about their flirty interactions. Like, they're talking about having the notes. And she says, you haven't been able to stay away from me since Cal and Mai.
Oh,
which is really interesting.
You're not wrong.
She's like, you're obsessed with me.
You met me.
You love me. Are you following me? Just
have you been stalking me this entire time?
Okay, let's get into this. Do you want to do an MVP voice?
MVP. I don't feel like mine is surprising. It's Feyre.
Well, she needs a shout out once in a while.
I know. I try not to pick her a lot.
Yeah, because she's always the MVP, like you said.
Yeah. Well, I feel... Yeah, she is. But I think just really this time around, she went out on the town. She's not going and crawling back to her room, which, I mean, fair, you need to do that sometimes. But she's kind of like, you know what? No, I'm writing this letter to Tamlin. I'm going to go out, enjoy myself. And then in the training with Cass, her just like admitting all that stuff, just coming to like a huge realization. She really got a lot of therapy work done, I think, in our episode of these last few chapters. She's having a healing journey. She really, really is. I love that for her.
Hashtag healing journey.
But yeah, I think just you're seeing her come back again.
Yes.
Which is nice to see. And her snarkiness coming back. Mm-hmm. Go to hell is back. Just, yeah.
She has a real comfort level with them. Or at least that's growing. That's really cool to see.
And they're also, which I love, they're like allowing that as well.
They're totally embracing her.
Yes. And like giving her... Can I change the MVP to just like the inner circle, actually?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Because I think they've all kind of opened up to her a little bit, like each their own way, and allowed her to speak when she wanted to or do certain things. Yep.
But it shows their trust in Rhys too, that they would let someone in so readily and embrace them so readily that they would have to have so much trust with him, because here's this person that's coming in. They're all very smart and powerful people that are probably very protective and all of that. So for them to let her in, that speaks a lot.
They can also probably feel a lot of...
They feel the energies. They feel the vibes that she has good vibes.
Yeah. Okay, I still can do MVP to Feyre, though. She had a really... I can't. She just had a really therapeutic...
Okay, fine. You could have 2.
Okay, thank you.
This is our podcast. We can make up the rules. Okay, my MVP is the restaurant lady.
Great choice. Damn it.
I don't know what food she cooked, but it sounded great in my mind.
She even made blood sound good when she's like, oh, she gave her the right spices. I was like, oh, what does that blood taste like?
Right? They didn't even describe the food other than like, oh, it was spicy and it was whatever. And my mouth was watering. Yeah. Lady, I don't even know what you made. And I want to go to your restaurant.
Yeah. Same.
Who's doing your marketing? Sarah J. Maas.
Yeah, it is. Just
so
the descriptors.
And this is, this is the restaurant. If I ever had a restaurant, I would want to create. This is the atmosphere I want to create, right? It's like really intimate. It's half outside, half inside, but you have a little magic on the outside of the restaurant. So like,
so warm.
The coldness from the river is not like making it too cold, but you still get the outside. You still get to see the twinkling stars in the sky while you have wine and you have platters of food, and you didn't even have to order.
It's amazing.
Well, also, you feel a little bit like my mom and my grandma, and you're going to take care of me whatever I need. You're going to give me the to-go baskets. You're going to give me a kiss on the cheek, and I'm going to be on my way.
Yeah,
and
like you're the exact amount of human interaction I need.
Mwah.
Oh, damn it. Yeah, bravo, restaurant lady. Bravo. Please tell us what you cooked.
So... I am so excited next week because we are going to the summer
court. No, that wasn't Orville.
No, what's another summer song?
In the rain. No.
If you steal my sunshine.
No. They're all like kind of negative ones that we're doing. Like they sound like they're like.
Okay, well,
think of like a Beach Boy song. Beach Boy. What's the
okay? Well,
song?
Let's save it. Let's save it.
Okay,
let's save it.
We'll
okay,
think of a good one. Apologies.
We're going to the summer court, though.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to the summer court. Also, again, please like us and share us and.
Oh, we forgot about that.
Yeah, just gonna bring that back up again.
Give us 5 stars and give us a follow.
Yeah, interact. Let us know things.
Interact with us.
Please. Please. Okay, well, see you at the summer court.
Okay, bye.
Bye.